Hello. So, this is for my viewers who are not close with their family, who maybe don't have the best relationship. They're, separate from them for whatever reason, whatever situation. And I had a dream last night, and I'm feeling called to share it here. So, feel free to stay if you'd like to receive it. I think this is a collective message for people who are not seeing family on Thanksgiving and who are not close and connected. So, my name is Crystal Hoban, aka Crystal Clear Mystic, and I want to talk about how painful that can be at times to, have a family that you grew up in and then, have to eventually like choose yourself and take care of yourself. And part of that is leaving that behind or making space in between that. I want to acknowledge that that doesn't mean that you don't love the family members or you don't love those people, but you've come to a point where you love yourself more, and choosing yourself is really hard. It's not an easy thing to do, but in some situations, it's absolutely necessary. So, I've actually been having like pretty prophetic dreams the last couple of nights, which I do have usually when I'm like timeline jumping. And last night, I had a dream that I was in a water course of some sort with my dog, Chrissy, which my dog usually represents inner child, my inner child. And we were moving through this course and we were going through it, and at the end of the course there was a ladder, and so I climbed out of the water in the ladder and I got to the top. And when I got to the top, I started looking around seeing if I could find Chrissy, and I couldn't find her anywhere. And so I'm looking all over the place, and then I come back to where the ladder is, where I climbed out of, and my mom is sitting there. Now, I don't talk to my mom or have a relationship with my mom at this point. And, I'm asking her, like, what happened to Chrissy? Where is Chrissy? And she's saying to me, oh, she was taken away. Crystal, you should know better. Like, she follows you everywhere. She won't leave your side. And you just like left her. You just abandoned her, was pretty much what she was saying to me. And I was like, well, where is she? Where is she? Right. And like, I definitely was like kind of frustrated in the dream. And she wouldn't tell me where she was. And so I got frustrated to the point where I crawled back down the ladder, climbed back down the ladder, and I went to look for Chrissy to find her. And as soon as I was going to find her, I woke up. And when I think about this dream and I sit with this dream is about how I abandoned my inner child and myself in certain relationships, and how I did it because I thought that that's what I had to do to receive love. And I'm taking back my life at this point. And this whole year for me and the spiritual awakening has been a big part of that, is me learning how to take back my power, me learning how not to be afraid of it, me learning how to stand strong in it, and me learning to love my authentic self, even if it's misunderstood by others. And this dream just shows that I'm done abandoning, right? Just like you are, you're done abandoning. You're done, choosing other people over yourself. You've become the protector of yourself and your authentic self and your child self that you always wanted and needed. You've become that for yourself. Nobody else was going to do that for you. And you had to go through these pretty yucky experiences, I think, probably throughout most of your life, to realize that nobody else was going to stand up for you the way that you were going to or you needed to, for you to truly be able to take care of and protect and love yourself truly. And so, this has been kind of what my dream was about. And it has really kind of been this bittersweet, like understanding that I had this morning about it, because, you know, it's me releasing this old self, me releasing this old self of having expectations that other people were going to meet me there, and hoping and praying and doing all of these things to receive something that was never going to come from them, that I actually needed to learn had to come from me and myself. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. And what it's making me realize is that, my path was always meant to go this way, right? This was one of the lessons I really needed to learn in this life and this experience, just like probably you did too, if you're in the same boat as me, where you're not going to see family. You've chosen yourself. You needed to learn the lesson that you actually deserve love and that you were looking at it in the wrong places. You were trying to receive this acceptance and this love from people who were never going to be able to see you, and they were never going to be able to give you what you needed. And you had to learn that probably a very painful way, probably the really hard way. It's interesting. I'm hearing like rock bottom, right? Like hitting that rock bottom. And one thing that I think I've realized is true is that we don't learn except for through a lot of pain. So there has to be like a significant amount of pain. And it's pretty rough. It's our rock bottom a lot of the time for us to say, never, ever, ever again. I will never put myself in that situation again. I will never let myself feel that way again. I will never look for that outside of myself again, ever. And so pain is actually what shapes us. And as I'm saying that, I'm seeing you have to be burnt to a crisp to be able to rise, the phoenix, right? You have to be burnt to a crisp, and that's the pain. And the rising part, I mean, you think the pain part is the hard part. I mean, it's difficult and doesn't feel great while it's happening, but the rising part and the choosing to rise above, the choosing to see things differently, the choosing yourself over others, the choosing of not going into a victim mindset, but instead becoming what you needed, right? That shift in perspective is probably the hardest part. And that's where a lot of people, I think, mm, they don't get through it, to be honest with you. They turn back around and they say, "Well, this is all your fault, so I'm going to behave this way." Or this is all because of you, right? Instead of turning inward and saying, "How did I participate in this?" Which not 100% your fault by any means, but how did I participate in this? How can I take care of myself and choose myself and make this better, right? How can I be what I need instead of looking for that outside of ourselves? And I think this is where you either fall into this victim mindset where you hurt people, hurt other people, or you turn into this, I they call it a dark empath, where you don't put up with other people's BS anymore and you know what you deserve and you choose better for yourself. Even if that means walking away from some really difficult relationships or long term relationships or relationships you thought you would never walk away from in your entire life. You choose you every single time. If the question is them or you, it's always you. And the dark empath sees through things. They don't doubt, right? When someone shows who they are, they believe that. They don't hold on to potential. They don't hold on to the illusion of what they think somebody could be, which is usually what gets you burned to a crisp to begin with. Is that you're holding on to this illusion of what you want this person to be, what you want them to be able to provide you with, right? And that's really what burns you with a crisp because that's not reality. Nor is it true, nor is it what some people are capable of. I'm like a flock of blackbirds flying through my window right now. Not easy to hear. But the dark empath is the one who sees through the illusions. They're the one who chooses themselves. They're the one who's been burned to a crisp and rose from the ashes and says, "No more, no more, no more, no more. I will never do that again to myself. I will never choose someone else over me, ever." That old version of me has long gone and died. And this new version of me is who stands strong in its place. I don't know if you can hear the crows, but they're calling outside my window and going. The reality is like the choice is yours. Do you choose to be angry at other people and sit in the shit and wallow in there? And I'm not saying don't wallow because I wallowed. For a little while, I absolutely wallowed. For a little while, there was absolutely grief that consumed me, right? It's okay to be human and have that experience, but you get to decide when you get up, when you stand up, when you choose something different for yourself. You get to decide that. You can stay there and wallow all your life. Some people get stuck in these moments for years, or you can choose to see it differently. You can choose to see yourself differently, and you can choose to stand up and keep going and learn from it instead of like punish and beat ourselves up for it, which I think is like the common experience, right? Something goes wrong or we fail at something or we do something bad, we beat ourselves up, we punish ourselves for it, right? And we can stay in that cycle for a very long time rather than just acknowledging, okay, what is this trying to show me about myself? What is it that I need to see about myself that I'm not seeing? Right? Especially if, like, over and over again, these situations are happening over and over and over and over and over again. You're having these same kind of like dynamics with people in relationships. What is it that you're not seeing about yourself, right? What is it that you're not recognizing about yourself that you actually need to change? And for a lot of people, it's that I see potential in people, not who they really are. So I ignore the red flags. I don't see them. They look green to me. I think you've heard that probably from social media, right? I just have such hope that I can fix them, that I can change them, that if I love them hard enough or I show them all of my love and time, that they will change, right? What is it within you that is causing you to stay in these situations and continue having them over and over and over again? Because that's your shadow work. That's where you need to learn to face yourself and say, oh no, this is what I've been doing. And where is this coming from and why? Where did I learn this? And what do I need to do different so that I can receive different, right? We get what we are. So if you're constantly expecting things in these relationships in this way or functioning, you're going to keep receiving the lesson until you learn it. Sad panda story, just just the reality, right? And a lot of the time, your family is a big part of where those lessons really need to be learned and taken care of and resolved so that you stop repeating them. And for me personally, and I think this is true for a lot of people, I've seen this over and over again, where people will have these dynamics in their family and then they recreate them in their romantic relationships. And they wake up one day and they realize it. But because you're in an illusion, you're not being honest with yourself, right? You're telling yourself certain things that aren't true. A lot of the time, you don't see that until it's so far in, right? All because you wanted to believe something to feel better at that point in time. So are you choosing a short game? Are you choosing a long game in your life? Short-term discomfort for long-term benefit or long-term discomfort for short-term benefit, right? It's your decision. We all get to decide here. We all get to decide what we put up with in this world. We all get to decide what lessons we learn. We all get to decide how much we transform and expand, right? I do want to say that if you are not with your family during this holiday, I am so sorry for that for you. And I hope that you can learn to love yourself and find something beautiful and give yourself passion and excitement today for you. I hope you can find one thing that's good about today. I hope you can find one thing to hold on to today that made you feel positive and excitement. Being without family on a holiday is difficult because of how society talks about it, but it's also how you choose to think about it as well. Where I'm coming from, the mentality of I don't have to go anywhere. So I actually get to relax on a holiday for the first time, probably in my lifetime. And I'm veg out hard. And it's gonna be epic, right? And that's, like, how I'm telling I'm gonna let myself do what I need to do, I'm gonna let myself be what I need to be, and that's that, right? And that is how I'm gonna give back to myself today and be gentle and kind and loving. So I hope you can do the same. If you'd like to work one-on-one or you feel called or you'd like support, you can take a look at my bio. And I wish you a very restful and happy holiday. Love and light.